All right, Cougars, we're on to video number 2 of our timeline. So, where we left off was with the Battle of the Marne. So, it was looking like a tie. No one's really advancing on either side of that Western Front between France and Germany, and with Great Britain now into the fight. But we start to see here a little bit of a new development. So, World War I is known for introducing a couple new types of weapons and warfare. So, by December of 1914, they were at a stalemate. So that means that neither side is really winning. It's a tie. And so what they started to do was dig trenches. And a trench is really just kind of like a hole in the ground. And so what they would do is soldiers would stay in the trenches to avoid being shot at by machine guns, which had just been invented as well, and were just now being used in World War I. So this Western Front that we talked about with France, they dug over 400 miles of these trenches all up and down this Western Front. And so what this does is it makes it very, very difficult for anyone to advance. Think of it this way. If you have one trench, so dug into the ground, and then you have another trench dug into the ground. You have your French soldiers in one and your German soldiers in the other. And there's just this plain, flat land in between. If you get up out of your hole, what's the first thing the other side is going to do? Well, they're going to shoot you down. There's no way for you to be able to get up out of the trench, run across the open field, and get to the other side before you're getting shot down. So what do? You can't just sit in your trench forever, right? And so what we start to see here is the introduction of some new weapons like planes and tanks. So tanks were mainly used to help infantry or the foot soldiers get to the other trench, and then planes as well were used to try and bomb enemy trenches, right? So we also start to see the use of poison gas here to try to drive enemy troops out of the trenches so that one army could advance. Well, what we see here too with the trenches is a huge loss of human life. As people are told to get up and run out the trenches to try to make it to the next one. And so what they would do is get mowed down by these machine guns before they could make it. So the goal being, if we sent 100 people to run across the field, maybe 5 of them will get there to the other side before everyone gets shot down, and they can maybe take the trench. So trench warfare was a huge component of World War I, especially on that Western Front. As it made it very difficult for forces to move. So you're here in these trenches for quite a while. We're nearing the end of 1914, so the war has been going on for a couple of months. And so they have something called the Christmas Truce. And this is where troops actually got out of the trenches, and German troops met with French troops and British troops, and for one day, they sat around fires and shared gifts and sang Christmas carols together. And so it was a day where they kind of put aside differences in the war and came out together. So this lasted only a day, though. Right afterwards, they went right back to their usual fighting. So after the Christmas truce, we have someone entering the war. So if you'll remember a couple slides ago, Italy had declared being neutral at the beginning of the war. They didn't want to get involved. However, opportunity struck. So in Austria-Hungary, in the southern part of Austria-Hungary, there are a couple of areas that have Italian speakers. And Italy saw the opportunity to join the war against the Central Powers of Germany and Austria-Hungary to try and take back some of these Italian-speaking areas in their unified Italy. So you have to think, one of the reasons here is nationalism, right? They want to unite all the Italian-speaking people. So they declare war, and they join the side of the Allies, even though before the war they had signed treaties with Germany and Austria-Hungary. So you can imagine they might be feeling a little betrayed by Italy as they enter the war. So this is about 1 year into the war, roughly, just shy, that Italy enters on the side of the Allies. Okay, so our next thing is going to be about ships. So we are going to pause right here, and our next video will be about the blockades and the introduction of the use of submarines in World War One. Another part of some of the advances in weapons that are used during this war.